guys, so today I'm going to go ahead and show you how I highlight and contour my face two different ways. One's going to be a super dramatic way and the other is going to be like a light everyday way. So in case you don't know what highlighting and contouring is, first up, it's all the rage right now, but just because it's all the rage does not mean it is new. Highlighting and contouring goes way back, way back. Techniques may have changed, products may have changed, but the concept of it has not changed. So if you don't know what it is, highlighting and contouring is basically a way to resculpt or reshape your face to bring out features that to highlight or bring out features that you want to show, and to kind of not erase, but kind of pull back features that you don't want as prominent. It's the art of creating using light and casting shadows on your face to make your face appear more sculpted. Some people's cases thinner, more defined. For example, let's say if you have a wider nose, you can contour your nose to make it appear a little slimmer. You can contour your cheeks. Those are the most famous places, your nose and your cheeks, to make your face appear a little bit more sleek. As everyone knows, Kim Kardashian is famous for doing this all the time, or a makeup artist anyway, but she is not the first. I mean, it goes back, way back into the early stages of makeup, people highlight and contour. So I'm going to show you the best ways that I know. I may not necessarily do it your way or someone else's way, but this is what I have learned and I have acquired in my research and studies and shopping. By me being a woman of color, sometimes it is harder. Before, when I first didn't know too much, I was looking for a bronzer to contour, which you probably shouldn't do that. You really want a matte product to contour with and highlight. And I was just looking for like a bronzer that was deep enough. I could not find anything deep enough to cast a shadow on my face to actually show up. But throughout the years and picking up some things, I definitely have found that. Now you can find different products. You can find creams. You can find powder products. Those are the two realms that I'm going to be using today. I'm going to be using a cream contour and highlight products to do my dramatic situation, and then some powder products to do my lighter situation. So with that being said, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, and I'll show you the demo. So for the first one, we're actually going to do the dramatic situation first. I know that's kind of backwards, but we're going to do the dramatic situation first, simply so you can see it and you can really understand what's happening. I'm a person who enjoys a good contour, but I usually use powders simply because they are easy to work with. So if you are a beginner, I suggest investing in some powders. I will show you those once I get there. But we'll go ahead with the cream products first. It is recommended if you're starting out, try to find something cool tone to contour with. Because remember, you're trying to create a shadow on your face. So start with something cool. Now, I do use warm products to contour with as well. I think they favor me as well as cool tones, but kind of like the unwritten rule is to contour and highlight with cool tones. So think about that before you purchase an item. So the cream products that I have today are the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the cream contour kit. This is in the shade Deep, the style Deep. I don't know if she sells individuals of these, but this is what it looks like. It comes with 6 shades. And this retails for about 40 bucks. These are very warm shades though. Some people don't like this because they're warm shades and they prefer to contour with cool. If you don't want to do a, if like a whole palette can be overwhelming for you, but you want to do the cream, invest in some sort of contour kit. Contour stick. This one is from Sephora. This is less than 20 bucks if I'm not mistaken. It's a highlight, low light face contour duo. I have it in the shade Deep, and one side is a highlighting portion, a bright tone there, and then the other side is the deep contour portion. And this contour portion is fairly cool. So they had a lot of sticks. This stick, and if you're my skin, a little bit darker or lighter, you definitely should be able to find something like that at Sephora. Okay, excuse my voice. Football season. Okay, and then for powder products, and by all means you can combine your powder and your cream powder products, but for powder products that I have, and I'm giving you these suggestions for women of color, obviously my skin tone, but they work for lighter ones as well. This is the NYX Highlight and Contour Pro palette, and there are 8 shades in here, and for my everyday I use the deepest shade here. The NYX actually sells individuals for $5, and these pop out, so you can theoretically customize your own palette, so that's pretty cool. But I use that one to contour my face, and then these 2 here sometimes as highlighting setting powders. All right, hold on. The next one, this is the Ulta Contour Kit. I am not sure if it comes in different shades, but these 2 here are perfect for my skin tone to contour. You can see how deep it is. And this is a pretty highlight shade. I don't use that as much. I set my under eye sometimes with that. So that's another option for women of color. And then finally, you can create your own. I don't even know if this option is still on the website. I heard that it wasn't, but the kits are still available. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Powder Contour Kit. So I have the cream and the powder contour kit. And I actually customized this. They have like a light, a fair, a medium, and then like a tan to deep, but they were definitely too light for me. So I customized mine. This shade Carob here. This shade definitely use that to contour. So you can try it out. You can check out these different rounds, and if all else fails, what I highly actually recommend to customize it the best way you can for your skin, eyeshadows. Powder eyeshadows work so well, and you can create, get a little Z palette and create your own highlight and contour kit with eyeshadow. MAC's Embark Shadow is a perfect contour shade for me, and I was using that for a long time before I found kits and everything like that. So go ahead and definitely check that out, okay? So that's all the information I got for you. Oh, brushes. I will explain those as I go. So let's go ahead and get started. One more product I forgot to mention is concealers in the cream department. A lot of people highlight and contour their face with concealers, like the LA Girl Pro Conceal. If that's your preference, go ahead and do that. I do highlight my under eye with some sort of concealer. I don't usually use highlighting powders. Highlighting creams, because they're different from concealers. I usually just use concealers, but it's hard for me to find concealers that are deep enough to contour with. But this NYX Conceal, Correct, and Contour palette, I have this is the deep one, and then there is a medium one and a light one. This is another recommendation for the cream department, so you can go ahead and check those out. This shade is really deep, so you can go ahead and check those out if you want to go the concealer route. Okay, so to start your cream concealer, actually just take a look at your face and see where you would want to highlight, bring out, or where you would want to contour or pull back. So the common and usually the general places to contour and highlight are the same, no matter the facial features, but of course makeup has no rules, so do what you want. So if you were using a cream palette like this, one thing with the Anastasia and anything that it's called contour or cream kit, remember they're not concealers, they're not going to be as creamy. So what you may have to do is add a drop or 2 of oil to these. You don't have to, you can use them thick, but a drop or 2 of oil. I'll use the Tarte Maracuja oil and get them a little bit creamier to work with. And then I apply them with like a flat foundation brush or a small rounded dense brush. Both of these are by Sonia Kashuk, so you can go ahead and go that route. But again, I'm going to use the stick today, so right from the stick to my face. So when we highlight our face, you can do these definitely in 2 separate steps. I recommend putting everything on your face before you blend it out, because you may overcompensate for something by not seeing it when you do the next step. So I go ahead and I'm going to take the lighter part. I always highlight under my eyes, brighten. That always flatters anyone, if that makes any sense. So I go ahead and I put a decent amount. You don't have to. You can put a few dots. I always put mine in a triangular pattern and kind of pull it out some, like that, under the eyes. Okay, and that's the main brightness usually on my face. I go ahead in the middle of my forehead, not too high. I make like a Y or whatever design I feel like putting down, and I bring it down my nose to brighten that area. I also put it on top, Cupid's bow, and on the chin. You can add a little more as I do. Remember, this is the dramatic situation. This is the dramatic situation. Picking a highlight shade, you usually want to go just maybe 2 shades, maybe 3 if you're really trying it, lighter than your skin tone. I go super light because that's what I like. You do not have to go super, super light. But anyway, and that's where I highlight my face, and those are the things I want to bring out. So then we go ahead to the contour side, and really invest in the Sephora stick. It's really good. The first place I contour is my cheeks. I don't have really a fat face, but I like it to be a little bit more sleek and supermodel-esque. Alright? So you're going to go ahead, if you need to make a fishy face, do that. Go ahead. And what you want to do is you want to bring your contour right in the hollow of the cheek. You don't want to go too far back, and you definitely don't want to go too close to your mouth. I usually stop about right here, probably at the point of whatever triangle I made, but you don't want to go too close to your mouth because then you look like you just cut your face out. So go ahead and apply that. Some people use more, some people use less. There you go. And then I like to sculpt my jawline. And my forehead. And with my forehead, do some dots. All the way around. So here comes the fun part. You can use 2 different sponges or the same sponge. I don't really blend with a brush. If you want to use a brush, whatever your best blending tool is. I recommend blending sponges. Don't have to be a beauty blender. You can use the Real Techniques. You can use the white triangular ones, whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start blending everything out with my beauty blender. So there you have it, blended out mostly. And your key to my key to bring everything together is powder. I am not a big fan of translucent powder. So I use my favorite face setting powders, usually something that's my skin tone, not too heavy duty, like a finishing powder, because you don't want to completely cover up what you just did, but you kind of want to melt everything together. So you guys know I love the Black Radiance Soft Focus finishing powder. Today I'm going to use the Black Opal Deluxe finishing powder and some of the Black Radiance in the lighter shade to set my lighter parts of my face. So then you go ahead and you do that. I'm not using these powder products to highlight or contour my face. They're just to set it. Okay? So I take a little bit of this and I place it on the highlighted area. Use a really light bit. Remember, this is a pressed powder, so it's not too much fallout. But I go ahead and I place that on top. Slide some down. Now you can bake. I just started baking, so I'm not going to give you a tutorial on how to bake when I barely know how to do it. So I'm going to go ahead with my Black Opal powder. And this is the shade, for me, Deep. Pretty decent. And I take a large fluffy powder brush. This is the Real Techniques powder brush. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to swirl that all over my face. Now you can see me looking pretty weird because I have no face makeup on. I mean, no eye makeup or anything. But that is the highlight and contour. While it's still my dramatic situation, it's not super stark where you can really see where the product was placed. And I think that is the key when I do this, to make sure. I almost never hot contour my nose. Okay, so now we're on to the powder application. I just reapplied my foundation, and one thing with the powder is when I do it, I still require some sort of concealer. While the cream products are usually enough coverage to cover as well as highlight and contour, the powder is just not enough coverage for me. I still require a little bit of concealer. So to kill two birds with one stone, I put concealer under my eyes, but I usually pick a concealer that's a lighter shade, so it just helps with the process. So this is the NYX HD Photogenic Concealer in the shade, I'm not sure. I think it's the darkest one they have though. So while this matches my skin, it's not not much lighter, because again, I want to show you what the powder does. But this is more for coverage, but it also brightens as well. And to blend that in, I use like an angle, usually a domed foundation. This again is from Sonia Kashuk. This video is not sponsored by Sonia Kashuk. I just happened to grab all of her brushes first. So while it's not as stark bright as the other the cream, but it gives me coverage and starting my process. But you can go ahead and apply concealer here, down the nose, how you did before, but we're using powders today. So I'm going to go ahead into my NYX contour kit, and I'm going to go ahead with this is actually a blush brush. This is from e.l.f., but I always use it to set my under eye. So I'm going to go in with the light yellow here, and I'm going to put that under my eyes. And you see how it brightened up without too much, without doing the most. Boom. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead. Now, I will tell you this. When I highlight and contour, if I'm wearing a liquid foundation, I always set my foundation with some sort of powder before I go into the contour products, okay? So before I start doing that. I almost forgot. I'm just going to swirl my brush in a little bit of face powder just to set my foundation, because contour products aren't meant to do that. So I go ahead and I'm just going to set my face. Okay, much better now. So I go into my contour shade. The brush that I use for powder contour is the Morphe MB4, and this is what it looks like. I already dipped my brush in it. Or you can use the Real Technique sculpting brush. This one is a little bit more dense. It's really good for placing the product on, but while this one has the same similar shape, it's a little bit fluffier. So while I can place the product on here, I can also blend it out with this same brush. This brush, I put the product on, but it gives me a hard time blending it out. So that's something you should consider. But anyway, I go into the deep shade. Fishy face. Remember, don't go past the mouth. And I blend it out. Don't go near the mouth. I'm sorry. Forehead. Right? You can use a powder brush to blend everything in together, and that's it. It looks weird because I don't have any blush, any highlighter, or anything, but that is the situation. This one is much softer, much more natural looking, if you want to say, but that is pretty much it. So let me know what's your favorite way. If you have any other questions, let me know. Leave them down below. Until next time, I will talk to you later. I love you all. Bye.